French president is in Gabon to participate in the One Forest Summit, which aims to advance the preservation and sustainable management of tropical forests. The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Tinubu as the president-elect of Nigeria. A passenger train collided with a cargo train in central Greece late on Tuesday, leaving dozens of people dead and tens of people injured. Good morning. You're tuned in to Golfe TV Africa. Welcome to this news edition. Here's the news in details. Now, starting off from the local scene, there was a two-day regional workshop on strengthening apprenticeship systems and the informal economy in Africa to promote quality, innovation, and transitions to formality. The workshop ended on a note of satisfaction and fulfilled expectations. More information on the following commentary.
The two-day regional workshop on strengthening apprenticeship systems in the informal economy in Africa, promoting quality, innovation, and transition to formality, ended on a note of satisfaction and fulfilled expectations. Through presentations, panel discussions, and debates, participants from more than 20 countries shared their experiences of initiatives implemented in the field of learning. At the end of the meeting, several recommendations were made by all the participants to positively impact on the actors of the learning chain. The representative of employers and workers organizations, craftsmen associations, and federations present at the workshop expressed their satisfaction with the atmosphere that prevailed and, above all, with the quality of debate without concealing the importance of the recommendations for improving apprenticeship systems. The Director of Development of the Swiss Corporation, representing the technical and financial partners, appreciated the importance given to the workshop by the Beninese government and invited the TFPs to support the efforts of the various governments to achieve the objectives set at the end of this workshop. The Minister of Secondary Technical Education and Vocational Training, Evie Chabi, also invited government officials to respect the recommendations and resolutions taken to revitalize the informal learning sector. This workshop aims to support policy dialogue and provide technical reflections on how to preserve and improve existing vocational learning systems in the informal economy. At the end of the meeting, Benin was praised for its efforts for being a vocal point for apprenticeship in Africa.
Moving on to Nigeria, on Wednesday, Tinubu spoke to supporters after officials declared him the winner of Saturday's election and Africa's most populous nation. Now, in a speech at his party's headquarters in Abuja, Tinubu said, "The ship is not sinking or wither. We anchor well under President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu." Here's more details on the following reports.
Shortly after being declared winner of Nigeria's highly contested election, Bola Tinubu stopped at the APC's campaign headquarters in Abuja to address his supporters who were celebrating their victory to the rhythm of Afrobeat music. In his speech, he appealed for reconciliation with his rivals and promised to make Nigeria better.
The ship did not sink or waver. We anchor well on the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
A long-time political kingmaker, Tinubu campaigned saying it's my turn to govern Africa's largest economy. He promised renewed hope, but faced questions over his health, past graft accusations, and ties to Buhari, who many critics say failed in his promise to make Nigeria safer.
The French president is in Gabon to participate in the One Forest Summit, which aims to advance the preservation and sustainable management of tropical forests. After Gabon, Emmanuel Macron will be visiting Angola, Congo, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Here's more details in the following reports. Government critics in Gabon have denounced the visit to the country by French President Emmanuel Macron. According to the critics, Macron's visit has been seen as a way to support President Ali Bongo, elected under controversial conditions in 2016 and likely candidate for re-election this year.
That the Gabonese know how to defend themselves from a double oppression, that is to say, from France and then from the Bongo PDG clan. If we are not able to defend ourselves against this double oppression, and if we spend our time complaining and whining in a certain way, we will not manage to get out of this double stranglehold.
The French president is in Gabon to participate in the One Forest Summit, which aims to advance the preservation and sustainable management of tropical forests.
We have the impression that there is a form of hypocrisy around this climate issue. It is used as a gimmick to support a dictatorship, because the Gabonese regime is considered a dictatorship, and we believe that France, through the arrival of Macron in Gabon, is simply supporting the Bongo dictatorship.
After Gabon, Emmanuel Macron will be visiting Angola, Congo, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, where he will have the opportunity to test the new relationship that he is calling for with a continent where France's influence is constantly declining. On a recent 5-day trip through 2 African nations, Jill Biden flexed her popular appeal and experience as an educator and mother figure to shine a light on hunger and inequality. Now, with hopeful words, the First Lady promotes norm change on tough issues. Here's more details on the following reports.
There was none of the presidency's muscular, national security-driven approach on display as First Lady Jill Biden smiled and hugged her way through Namibia and Kenya. Biden used hopeful words to touch on tough issues.
We face many of the same challenges, from climate change to economic inequality to strengthening democracy. African voices, African leadership, and African innovation are all critical to addressing the most pressing global challenges and realizing the vision we all share. A world that is free.
She also flexed her motherly muscles by bringing along one of her 7 grandchildren and touting girls and women as engines of change. It's an uphill battle. As this South African series shows, transactional sex is the norm for young women, not the exception. That nation's president describes gender-based violence as a second pandemic. And girls are often excluded from education, as this Namibian girl was when pregnancy forced her out of the 11th grade. And Kenya's First Lady says many women in her country lack access to conventional finance, so they use informal lending networks like these, which don't have the protections or guarantees of banks and often traffic in smaller sums. President Joe Biden, who often calls himself Jill Biden's husband, said her visit shows his administration's strong commitment.
She met with the presidents and first ladies of both countries. She spoke to more than 1,000 young people, the first generation born out of apartheid in Namibia, and empowered them as keepers of democracy. In Kenya, she met families affected by devastating drought and food insecurity and made worse by Putin's brutal assault on Ukraine. And it made it clear that America's commitment to Africa is real.
And by choosing to hold all of her high-profile events with female leaders, Biden conveyed a message of her own, with this possible nod to Namibia's First Lady, whose husband's second and final term ends next year. The future is female.
It's always time to have a female president, no matter what country you're in. So I'm very supportive of women running for office.
It's unclear whether the trip will result in new Africa initiatives or policy changes, but it could have other impact, analysts say.
Dr. Biden has been a role model, not only in the education field, but with everything that she's done in her capacity as First Lady. That gives hope to girls who can grow up knowing that there's many roles that they can take on as adults, and they can move into fields that might have been denied to them. They might be able to get education.
If nothing else, Biden's visit challenges a belief that still pervades, and not just on the mother continent, that being born a girl means you lose in life. maybe it means you'll win.
On the international scene, a passenger train collided with a cargo train in central Greece late on Tuesday, leaving dozens of people dead and tens of people injured, according to the local fire brigade. The local media is calling it the worst train accident Greece has ever seen. Now, the two trains, a passenger train traveling from Athens to Thessaloniki and a cargo train from Thessaloniki to Larissa, collided near the central city of Larissa. Here's more details on the following reports.
At least 36 people have been killed in a head-on train collision in Greece. More than 50 people are being treated in hospital with serious injuries. A passenger train was heading from Athens to Thessaloniki when it hit a freight train coming the other way. Police are investigating what caused the crash.
The collision happened just before midnight. It was a head-on crash involving a cargo train and a packed intercity line. Authorities say the force of the impact was so strong that the front two carriages of the passenger train were almost completely destroyed, with fires breaking out in many others. Around 350 people were on board the service from Athens to the northern city of Thessaloniki at the time. Those who escaped with their lives described the chaos when the two trains collided. We heard a big bang. It was 10 nightmarish seconds. We were thrown around in the wagon, eventually falling on our sides. The commotion stopped. Then there was panic, cables everywhere. The fire was immediate. As we were rolling, we were burning. Fire was everywhere. As we landed, a fire erupted right next to us. This man, he saw a hole, so he managed to get out through there. Emergency teams and rescue crews worked through the night and in the thick smoke, searching for survivors. Scouring each broken carriage by torchlight for signs of life. And the bodies of those killed in the crash. It's a huge operation involving more than 150 firefighters and 40 ambulances. The rescue work continuing into the morning, with specialist equipment also deployed to help clear the debris. It's not yet known what caused the collision, but it is already being described as the worst train accident in Greek history.
Impoverished residents of Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown, are running out of space to build their homes. In desperation, they are constructing houses on land reclaimed from the sea. Here's more details on the following reports. Squashed between the mountain slopes and the Atlantic Ocean, impoverished residents of Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown, are running out of space to build their homes. In desperation, they're constructing houses on land reclaimed from the sea in the process known as banking. This involves piling up layers of tires, rubbish, and sacks of earth on the water's edge, packing the ballast with mud, and then building their homes on it.
It's here I've built my shack house because I don't have the opportunity to buy and build one elsewhere. It's here I'm managing my life with no problem.
As the population in the capital grows, it's estimated that 1/3 of its 1.5 million residents now live in slums.
We don't get fire there now. Where it's over 15.
We've witnessed over 15 fire incidents leading to the loss of lives and houses burnt down.
Yes.
And the flooding occurs during the rains and during the dry season. Most of the drainage canals are blocked with garbage.
The Federation of Urban and Rural Poor, a community-based organization, estimates some 198,000 people live in its seafront settlement. But the illegal construction methods they are using come with great risk.
So most people are actually migrating from the rural areas up to Freetown, and over time the population of Freetown also increases, and that's actually had a whole lot of increasing demand for housing, and that's resulted to people actually inhabiting some of these coastal settlements.
They're unauthorized homes also face other problems, ranging from lack of water and sewage systems to the lack of access roads, which makes it hard for ambulances or fire trucks to arrive in emergencies. Freetown's population mushroomed during the decade-long civil war when the city was seen as safe haven. But with rising sea levels due to the climate change expected to force millions of people to move further inland, Freetown's mayor says the solution is to create more economically attractive destinations for people outside the city. A 1.443 kilometer-long heated pipeline from the shores of Lake Albert in Uganda to the port of Tanga in Tanzania is underway on the East Africa Crude Oil Pipeline and Telenga Well Drilling Project, as Uganda hopes to begin extracting its oil in 2025. Here's more details on the following reports. Construction is underway on the East Africa Crude Oil Pipeline and Telenga Well Drilling Project, as Uganda hopes to begin extracting its own oil in 2025. A 1.443 kilometer-long heated pipeline from the shores of Lake Albert in Uganda to the port of Tanga in Tanzania were jointly developed by French Total Energies and the China National Offshore Oil Corporation, along with Uganda and Tanzanian state oil companies.
When it comes to the petroleum products, definitely they are very important for our industries, our transportation, and other related industries. So it is very, very important that this Telenga project and ECOP materialize. For ECOP, we get revenue. For Telenga, it means we are getting the resource.
While Total Energies and Ugandan authorities state that the vast majority of the project-affected persons, the PAPS, have been adequately compensated for the loss of their land, houses, fields and crops and improved their lives, some of the NGOs are claiming PAPs agreed to propose compensations out of fear. Those who did not agree to sign have been taken to court by Ugandan government. The country has been ruled with an iron fist since 1986 by Yoweri Museveni, who had described the project as a major economic source.
If they cared to invite like a conference of all those who have been paid to present their problems, I can assure you will discover that those payments, it is because of the fear what the communities have been going through.
Total Energies have claimed that Telenga will create 7,000 jobs in the Lake Albert region, and some residents have benefited from land buyouts and scholarships, while others have been taken to courts for opposing the project. Still on the African scene, representatives from two of Nigeria's three major political parties walked out from the National Collation Center in Abuja and protest against the irregularities they say were found and result announced so far. Now, some blamed it on technology glitches heavily deployed in the votes. Here's more details on the following reports.
Representatives from two of Nigeria's three major political parties walked out from the National Collation Center in the country's capital, Abuja, on Monday, in protest against the irregularities they say were found in results announced so far. Several party agents, including those from the main opposition, alleged there were cases of overvoting.
Our demand is that the system is compromised, INEC is compromised, so the entire process be stalled and cancelled. INEC is compromised, APC have influenced INEC, and we can see results have been changed. We have records of where elections did not take place and results have been prepared. We have records of where the beavers were not used and results have been pronounced. What is difficult in the INEC chairman showing the uploaded results so that we can compare and interrogate that with the presentation that is made by the state returning officers.
Some blamed the situation on glitches with technology heavily deployed in the vote. Mahmoud Yakubu, Nigeria's election chief, said the results were authenticated by electoral officials at the voting unit, dismissing claims of irregularities.
He has refused to listen to us. We made observations. He wants to us to receive and accept the doctored results that came from the collection center at various states. We do not agree with that, and we have empirical evidence that we have our agents have observed us and they have informed us reliably that the Vivas machine have not been used. Where they are used, they are being compromised.
Only 4 of Nigeria's 36 states had officially announced results by midday Monday, with 3 of those going to ruling party candidate Bola Tinubu.
To end this news edition, here's a recap of our top stories. The French president is in Gabon to participate in the One Forest Summit, which aims to advance the preservation and sustainable management of tropical forests. The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Tinubu as the president-elect of Nigeria. A passenger train collided with a cargo train in central Greece late on Tuesday, leaving dozens of people dead and tens of people injured. Here will conclude today's news edition, coming to you live and direct from Golfe TV Africa. I am Itinu Shoneye. Enjoy the rest of your day.